Well, hello, internet friends near and far. Welcome to another episode of Parks and Conversation. This is a podcast where we talk about an episode of Parks and Recreation that we recently watched. And this week, we're watching Season 6, Episode 13, Chris and Ann. And it's been building to this for some time, but Chris and Ann are leaving the show. So,
but not our hearts.
But not our hearts. And that voice that you heard, that was Jeremy.
That's me.
He's all the way across town, and I'm here in my office, and it's the internet that makes it all happen. And so, internet friends, let's talk about this episode. Let's get to it. Jeremy, how are you doing today?
I'm well. I am well. It's a morning where I can watch Parks and Rec right before the podcast, and so it's fresh. And I'm feeling. It's cold, but it's bright, and things are happening. So, what about you?
I'm great.
How are you doing?
I am so good. I am teaching a class this semester, and spring break is like 1 week away, and I'm so excited to have spring break. It's going to be great.
I love spring break.
Yeah. It doesn't mean I have less to do because I have like all the prep stuff for the class in the future that I have to do, but I don't have to drive anywhere for a week, which is going to be nice.
Yeah. And there's not like this group of people that are counting on you, like they're just out there, like weighing in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
That's how I feel anyway.
Really? That's how you feel about your students? They're like counting on you?
Well, not counting, but just like they're out there somewhere,
Yeah.
Just waiting for grades or something. I don't know how teaching works.
Yeah. Well, good thing that you and I are both, employed by colleges and universities, and we're good to go.
Yeah.
Good to go. So, Jeremy, what are some of your impressions on this episode before we jump into talking through it?
Aw. That's kind of how I summed the whole episode up. Just like, aw.
Yeah, it's a cute one.
Yeah. 8.8 on IMDb.
I don't believe that at all.
I know. I didn't either. But that is the truth that I am telling you right now.
That infuriates me.
8.8. Why does that? Why?
I don't know. It's fine. This whole episode is fine. It's the Mark Brandanowitz of this season, I think.
Wow.
So, in that both of them left.
Yeah, but two people leave.
Mm-hmm. So it's even more Mark Brandanowitz.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. No, I thought it was a little bit better than fine. I like the sappiness of it all. I thought it was a good send-off. It was a good send-off episode for two characters that that are our show favorites. And I thought they did a good job, and they kind of, said goodbye to everybody in the ways that, those characters kind of, I don't know, not deserve, but represented. So like Jerry, Larry, Gary, I thought his whole situation was great. So, yeah. Now, what about you? What'd you think about this other than it's fine?
I think I thought the guy's gift problem plotline, I thought that was more special than Leslie and Anne saying goodbye to each other, because Leslie was like go over the top on everything,
right?
And the guys were like do the bare minimum, but then do something very meaningful. Which
right.
is like, kind of what I aspire to.
What's something that connects me to my friend as I'm heading out the door that I can give him for his birthday right now? Because I've put zero thought into this, but
yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
and I love that they give him a gift. They give Chris a gift card for pots and pans, and I was looking for new pots, and he says,
it's like, no,
that's actually 4 pans.
Yeah, that's we got you a card for 3 pans.
Yeah, so that kind of that was more, I don't know, it just resonated more than I'm going to throw a party with all the holidays. I didn't like that very much.
Yeah, but I think it kind of set it up so they can say goodbye to, that side of everything. And I don't know. The party was interesting.
Yeah. Well, interesting is a word.
Yeah.
So, so let's just jump in here.
Okay.
As I scroll IMDb, I am seeing this ad for a show called The Consultant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got that too.
I don't know what that is. It's bothering me.
I don't know. Why don't you do the podcast? I'll watch the trailer.
Watch the trailer? Okay. All right. Let's do that. So it starts off cold open. Leslie's on the phone, very upset that she's not able to have indoor fireworks.
It's pretty impressive.
Watching that trailer?
Yeah, this is wow. Sorry, continue. No, I'm good. I'm good.
She wants to. Should we do the Consultant podcast instead?
Yes, please.
So Leslie's upset that she's unable to have indoor fireworks because Anne had mentioned that she wanted that like 5 years ago or something. So she's on the phone trying to get her way because she is reminiscing about all of her memories and experiences with Anne. We even get a clip of their first meeting where Anne comes to talk about the abandoned lot behind her house, and the government needs to do something about it. And Leslie makes a pinky promise that she's going to fix it.
That's better than a regular promise,
I guess. Yeah. I mean, yeah. But here's the thing. As I was reflecting on the rules of pinky promises, which I often do, I didn't see Leslie and Anne actually interlock pinkies.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's any binding contract there.
Yeah, it's one. I think it's one tier down. Like it's a ladies' agreement.
Oh, so you're saying a gentleman's agreement is
No. I was just using who. So I wanted to say gentleman's agreement, but they're not. So they're ladies. But it's just a person's agreement. Then how about that? It is an individual's agreement. It's a spoken pinky promise sans physical contact.
Okay, so it's a pinky promise for the COVID era.
Yeah.
All right.
6 foot distant pinky promise, still binding. The terms of pinky promises have, as understood. So, it plays.
All right. I'll allow it. So Leslie is part of this party as well is going to have this secret groundbreaking because that was, that will be the fulfillment of that promise to actually make the park happen. However, she runs up in a conflict with Harold from Public Works, who you may recognize Harold from his episode in The Office where he wanted to sell a plane.
That's right.
Yeah, same guy. I just want to sell something really big, like a plane. So Harold comes in and is like, "Hey, you're going around my back here. I never signed off on this." And Leslie tries to distract him with sweet treats that have hazelnut in them. What were those things that she made? I was watching. I was like, "What is that? Is that a cookie? What is
I think they're like homemade. What are those Rocher chocolates?
Oh, Ferrero Rocher.
Ferrero Rocher.
Too many R's, and one of them you don't even bother with.
Yeah.
At the end, he's like, "I'm tired of R's. Can you do a different letter for the French?" Jeez. Okay, so homemade Ferrero Rochers.
I think. I mean, that's what I go for.
All right, those have hazelnut in them too.
Sure.
I'll go. Do you like those?
They're fine. I wouldn't seek them out if there's like, it's holidays. This is the only candy that's out. Sure, I'll have 1 or 5, but I'm not going to eat
1 or 5.
Yeah, I'm not going to go buy a 10 of them. Kind of like almond roca. Like there's people who
hate almond
roca. No, I'll have. It's it's fine.
It doesn't really taste like almonds.
No,
and like there's almond in there, but here's the thing about almond: it tastes like whatever you surround it with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Hazelnut, though, like hazelnut has a flavor,
right?
And it cuts through, and I don't really like that flavor. So, but it's interesting that you brought up almond roca because I was going to ask you on the on the scale, if you had to choose between Ferrero Rocher or Almond Roca, what would you choose?
I would probably go with Almond Roca only because I like caramel, and it's kind of a denser. It's almost like a brittle, So that's and hazelnuts is pretty strong. What about you?
Fasting.
You're fasting. You're passing. You're just like no,
no thanks.
I'm out.
Yeah. I feel like the Ferrero Rocher, the Rocher.
The Rocher. What is the name of that movie she's in?
I feel like that the packaging of the Ferrero Rocher is too pretentious. I feel like it wants to be a peanut butter cup because it's got that little like Reese's
it's
bottom
like
layer.
It's like a high scale peanut butter cup.
But then it also has foil on it. It's like, pick one. Do we need all this? So, yeah, I don't like them.
And the other thing, too, is like I like Almond Roca because it's a local institution.
Is it?
Yeah. It's down. It's made their little factories down in Tacoma.
Huh.
Yeah, Washington. So.
Not Toyota. Not Tacoma Toyota.
Not Toyota of Tacoma. Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know this.
Brown and Haley. So those Brown and Haley Mound bars. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Same company. I didn't know that.
Over 100 years, man.
Where are you at on applets and cotlets? That's another local institution.
Yeah, I'm fine with them. My wife hates them.
Oh, you're fine with them. Oh.
No, I mean it's a jelly. I don't like walnuts and crunchy things inside of a jelly candy mostly. But again, grew up with them. Reminds me of my grandma because I think I was annoying her one day and she's like, "Here, have a box of candy." And
so it was punishment.
It was, yeah. But I didn't. It was sweet and delicious. You're not a fan, I take it.
Well, anything. I don't know what a cotlet is, but it reminds me of a cutlet, and that makes me think of some kind of fish. So I'm sure it doesn't taste at all like fish.
Apples and apricots.
It sounds like apples and like cod. Like pass. No thanks. Little apples and a little bit of fish.
Delicious.
Yeah, I mean this is not anything to do with this episode, but
it doesn't. No.
I mean we are talking about candy, which I think Leslie Knope would be on board with. So
yeah, that's fine.
All right. So Leslie thinks she solved the Harold problem with treats. We'll see how that goes. But he leaves, and then April is helping set things up, and Leslie's a little surprised by how helpful she is. And April's like, "This is the greatest." Having Anne leave and say goodbye to people, and it's going to be painful. It's one of the greatest days of my life. And which is on brand for April, but we know deep down, April, and we'll even see this later, April loves Chris and Anne. They're her friends. So it'll be sad. The story kind of goes back and forth between the two, the women's group and the men's group is kind of boys versus girls situation. And so Chris is packing up their house, and Tom and Ben and Andy and Ron and Jerry are there, or Gary, and they're helping pack things up. And Tom realizes that his name is on one of the boxes, and Ben sees it too. And Andy says this one has Plate's name on it. So he's participating.
Mr. Plates.
Yeah. And so Chris has taken the time to make a memento of their friendship, and people start opening their stuff. And he's like, he does have a funny bit here. I was going to give them to you later, but there is no time like the present. And then he looks right at the camera. It says, "Fun pun alert." Chris. And so Ron, his is a bronzed hamburger to remember their burger cook-off. And Ron's like, "I would have preferred a regular hamburger, but this is also very nice." Ben gets a framed 2008 audit spreadsheet. And that Chris says that's when you went from being an auditor to being a legend. And Jerry gets a picture of him doing Ben and Leslie's wedding. And it's really a picture of Ben and Leslie that Jerry happens to be partly in. And Tom gets a bottle of snake juice. And he's shocked because he thought they were all destroyed by the FDA. And Chris says, I did have to go to a very seedy location to find it, but now I know where to go to place a bet on horse fighting. Which is something I don't want to be like pro violence toward animals, but I would be interested to know the mechanics of horse fighting. You know, like with rooster fighting, you know, they put like blades on the feet and stuff, and they just kind of peck at each other. What does a horse fight look like?
I'd like to think that they put like those big blow up boxing gloves on their hooves, so they're not hooves. Yeah, and they have helmets.
Okay,
so they're not really getting hurt as much.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
How are they punchy? So
they like do the hind leg kind of thing, and then
the boxing gloves are on the hind legs.
No, on the front. No, the forelegs.
On all four legs.
No. FORE legs. Like the foreground legs.
Okay.
And and then they go up on their hind legs and then punch until they lose balance and then come down. And nobody gets hurt.
Great. That sounds as plausible as any other idea. Now, here's the other question about horses. If you had to put pants on horses, where would the pants go?
On the back.
Just the back legs?
Back legs. That's closest to its butt. That just makes sense to me.
Okay. But not the front legs also?
No, because the butt's in the back.
I know, but they're pants. Pants are for legs.
Well, that would be a shirt then, like a long sleeve shirt.
So like a jumpsuit.
Sure. I could be on board with that. I wouldn't. Right. You wouldn't put two pairs of pants on a horse. That's ridiculous. Also, what's just a pant?
Well, a pant leg.
No, pant.
So I think one leg.
A pair of pants.
Yeah, one leg of pants is a pant. So a pair of pants is both legs together. So I learned this because we grew up pretty poor and bought things on deep discount.
Oh, you got like the one pant.
I got a pant, and then
you got a pant. Next.
Hey, we can sew it to your pant at home.
Your pants at home.
So one's denim, the other's corduroy. That sort of thing. But you
gotta wait till next year to put, and then like one's longer than the other.
Yeah, but it was always a conversation starter.
Yeah,
I would say, please stop hitting me. To bullies.
Yeah.
That's so sad. I just said it's anyway, sorry. Yeah, so then it cuts back to party planning, and Leslie is asking April not to tell anything about the groundbreaking, and then April should repeat it back to me, and April's like, tell Anne about the groundbreaking, frame Anne for murder, release a deadly virus into the water supply. So that's good. That's going well. And yeah, the party looks great. Anne shows up and she's so excited. But then she asks, why is there a New Year's Eve countdown and the Easter Bunny? And there's all these different things happening there. And Leslie says, because I don't know when we're going to see each other. So it's for all the holidays, birthday, New Year, Chinese New Year, Flag Day. She says there ain't no party like a Leslie Note party, because a Leslie Note party is actually 30 parties, which is too many parties.
That's a lot of parties.
Too many. So it's a big deal. Things are happening. It's getting exciting. So the April wants to help Anne keep moving along. And so she packed her a bag from her house, and Anne looks in the bag, and it's a bunch of bras and knives and loose onions. So then they continue on the party. Cut back to Chris's house, and Ben feels kind of bad here as he's giving them the gift card for that store called Pots and Pans, as I mentioned. He was on Chris is like, I was on the prowl for some pots. Those are for 3 pans. That's
what an oddly specific gift card.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, why don't you just buy the 3 pans? But maybe for moving. It seems like Chris or Ben is a very practical person. And so if somebody's moving, giving them things to move seems like more work.
Agreed.
So if I'm moving, if either of us move, and it's like we're never going to see each other again situation, you have my permission to give me a gift card.
Okay.
Either way, if I'm moving or you're moving, you have permission to give me a gift card.
I'm moving away, so I give you a gift card.
Yeah, as a way to like,
go to Home Depot and just remember me.
Exactly. Yeah. I know you're going to miss me a lot. Here, fill the void of our relationship with a present.
That's lumber.
Yeah, that's fine. Either way, all right.
I like it. I was like, that's a nice gift. Like you said, like he doesn't have to carry anything with him. There's just thoughtful and all that. But at the same time, it's like, pots and pans. That's a useful gift. I'm older now, so I appreciate the sentiment. It's like, hey, you're starting over. Go get some nice cookware. Why not?
Right.
I'm fine with it.
The big problem here is the thoughtfulness of it from their perspective.
Yeah, because they got pans instead of pots.
Right. And Ben feels terrible. And he's like, Chris put so much work into this, and I feel bad with giving him a gift card. And Ron's response is, I shook his hand twice.
Yeah.
I think more would be excessive. So Tom's suggestion is the 3 C's: cashmere, concert tickets, and caboodles of cash, which is actually 4 C's. And Ben's like, those are perfect gifts for you. And Tom's response is like, those are perfect gifts for everyone. I wish you guys were Donna. So cut to Ann Perkins talking to Donna and saying she'll never meet another Donna in Michigan. And yeah, it's true. Donna is great and she's wonderful. And now that Ann's out of town, Donna's going to run the dating pool. It's going to be great for Donna. So good for her. And then she looks over at a gentleman and is like, makes eyes at it. And she's like, you don't want to go down that road. Trust me, I tried. And his name is Steven. And it turns out Steven seems to be presenting as not interested in ladies in that way. So,
because he's a leprechaun?
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly right.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, don't worry about it. So at the Ron's at the party now, and he's fast. He was just at Chris and Ann's house, and now he's already at the party. And Leslie is looking for April, and Ron's just like, I've been mostly focused on cooking these ribs, and you're out of ham and Thanksgiving turkey. Great party. Which made me think, did Ron eat all the ham and Thanksgiving turkey?
Absolutely. Absolutely, he did.
Yeah. So he knows they're out because he made them out. So
that would be, he's doing 4th of July at that point, right? Ribs. So you got ham for Easter.
An American.
Yep.
So it's either 4th of July or Memorial Day.
Either one. Maybe it's
barbecue
a dual
season.
Right. Okay. Easter ham, Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah,
barbecue
he's not
season
going at these
ribs.
in order, though.
No.
He's kind of choosing your own adventure calendar
of meat.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that sounds great.
You could do it. You could do a jerky. You could do like a jerky advent calendar.
You could absolutely. You could.
Or I mean, I'm
gonna write a letter to Oh Boy Oberto. I know the company is Oberto, but I want to write specifically to Oh Boy.
Oh Boy. Hey, that's a local. That's a local company too.
I know we are just repping so hard for the 206 and the 253 and the 360 and the 425. I guess. Do we have another one?
Probably 360.
I said 360. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I had a phone call yesterday.
Good
from
job.
Somebody who recently moved from a different state.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a cell phone, right? And I know they moved from a different state because it was a big deal when they moved here in our network. It's like, hey, these people are from somewhere else.
Did you get him a gift card?
No. I was offended he didn't get me one for coming into my state.
Exactly. Yep.
But he's been here for like 2 years, right? I have other friends who have moved to other states and they still have their 206 phone number.
Mm-hmm.
He changed his number to 253 already. And I was like, man, I'm glad you're assimilating and stuff. But also it's like, you're not from here.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Like,
gatekeeping the area codes.
Yeah. I mean, hold on to your pride for where you're from, unless you're super ashamed of where you're from, I guess.
Yeah, Michigan.
Yeah, I never had a phone number when I lived in Michigan. So I didn't really have any option on that.
All right.
I don't even know I have not called anybody in Michigan ever because I'm so good at family. I don't even know what the area code is out there. There's no way to know. I'll ask Anne because she's going to Michigan.
Where there's Wolverines.
Yeah. So lots of them. So the Leslie gets a call from April because April is out at the place where they're going to do the surprise groundbreaking on the park. And she says there's a public works put a padlock on that says no trespassing. And Leslie's like, that doesn't apply to us. And there's another sign that says, especially Leslie Nope. And she's like, well, that's a very common name. They must mean the professor in Copenhagen named Leslie Nope. They probably mean him. And then April's like, there's a picture of you also.
Right?
And 2 huge security guards. So this is not going great for Leslie's big gesture for Anne. So she busts into to Harold's house. No, not yet. She'll do that later. So she knows it's Harold is doing this, and so she's going to have to make a plan. And then Orrin walks up with the Easter Bunny, takes his head off, and like, how long do I have to do this? And Leslie's response is just, until I say so, stay in character. Yeah. So
do you think they have used Orrin enough in the show? I mean, this is season 6. There's only one more season, right? Like, I'm glad they didn't spam us with Orrin, but I still feel like he could have popped up a few more times.
Well, let's see how busy Eric Eisenhower is in his acting, because maybe it's not that they didn't want to use him. Maybe he was just too busy.
Maybe they couldn't.
Yeah. So this was in 2008, 2010 when this aired.
This episode aired January 30th, 2014.
2014. Okay. Yeah. So in 2014, he was only doing Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just were like, yeah, we're good on Orrin. I don't know. I don't think Orrin is the funniest part of the show.
No, he's not. But I just love when he pops up. You know, like he was in the bunny costume. Like it's just, where is he going to pop up next?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like an Easter egg. That's why he probably was in the Easter Bunny suit.
That is next level.
Yeah.
That's amazing. All right. You've convinced me. We need more Orrin. So Anne, it cuts to Anne. She's talking to Leslie or Ben about how to handle Leslie. And like, don't watch Julie Andrews movies before bed. Gets her too hyper. Mm-hmm. And then Chris needs help too. So Ben tells her, like, if Chris gets cranky around noon, just stuff some chia seeds into a fig. Works every time. Like you're giving your dog medicine wrapped in cheese. And so, so they both realize that they have intense people in their lives, which is amazing. And then, but Anne's like, where's Leslie? I haven't seen her. And Ben's like, oh, she's probably just trying to pull out an elaborate, thoughtful surprise for you. And then Ben's like, where's Chris? And Anne says, I told him that One Headlight by the Wallflowers isn't dancing music. And he said, not with that attitude. And then it cuts to Chris dancing to One Headlight by the Wallflowers. And he is going for it. And I love that song. Love it. That whole album is awesome.
Yeah, Jacob Dylan.
Yeah.
And the
son
Wallflowers.
Of Bob Dylan.
Son, yeah.
Yeah, it is. I love that album. And I introduced it to Judah last summer after he got his driver's license. He's driving around our Ford Ranger, 96 Ford Ranger. And I was like, all right, you don't really have reliable air conditioning, so you need to get real comfortable with leaning all the way over to roll the other window down and remember to roll it back up and lock your doors and all that stuff. But then I was like, then you also need to have an album that you play all summer. And I gifted him a copy of Bringing Down the Horse by the Wallflowers because it is perfect summer driving in a truck record.
I'm not going to argue with that.
It's so good. Every song on that album is like a time machine that takes me back to 1996 or whenever that album came out. And I just listen to it all the time. It's so good. And so Chris's response to dancing to that song, I get it, man. I get it.
It doesn't really excuse how he was dancing.
No. I mean, but that's just how he dances.
That is
right?
how he dances. He's letting the music take him away.
Yeah. Now, Jeremy, I love that album from the Wallflowers.
Yeah.
I don't know any of their other songs or albums. I'm a terrible fan. I'm terrible. Do you know any other songs from the Wallflowers other than what's on that album?
Other than what's on the Bring Down the
Horse.
The Horse. Oh man. I'd have to go with probably, I don't know. Red Letter Days was pretty decent. That was around 2002, 2003. Right after that was Rebel Sweetheart. And then there's a bit of a hiatus, which I don't know if that's the name of an album or they just took a hiatus. Okay. And then they were Glad All Over. So,
wow,
they had a good break. Yeah. So I'm, being a huge Wallflowers fan that I am, they're still active, which is good. Yeah. So yeah. No, I've actually seen the Wallflowers. They opened up for Pearl Jam around that time, 96, 97, or 90. It might have been 97 when I saw them. And they were really good. And
they're so good.
So
we were going to try to see them in town. They were going to come to town. And they were coming in May. And so I looked online. I was like, oh, cool. Judah, let's go. And then I looked at the tickets and they're all sold out because this was a tour that they were going to go on with Matchbox 20.
Oh, and Third Eye Blind?
No. If only. Oh my word. It was scheduled for the spring of 2020.
Oh,
and they're just now getting around to rescheduling those shows. So all the tickets were sold out and anything on resale was like $500. Like, no, not going this year, my friend. But anyway, so Chris is busting a move to one headlight because you can drive it home with one headlight. So then cut to Andy running over to Ann saying, Ann, we used to date.
Not just Ann. He goes, dude.
We used to date. And Ann's like, yeah, and we lived together. And then Andy's like, yeah, anyway, you're the best. Have fun in Mexico.
And he leaves. He just pieces out.
Yeah. He's just a big dumb animal, folks. Yeah. So then Leslie is calling Harold, asking for him to call her back. And he's not. And so then Ben is there. He's like, I looked through the bylaws of the city. I don't think there's anything I can do. And Leslie's like, what's the point of being married to a city manager if you can't wield your unfettered power to crush my enemies? Mm-hmm. So it looks like they hit a wall, but then April and shows up and Leslie's like, are you all right? What's happening? And April's happy, and she's like, I'm just so scared that this means that Ann won't really leave. And so, yeah. And then Tom is talking to Ann, is like, hey, life, quite a ride. And Tom, his going away present, is deleting Ann from his phone, so that she'll be free from his animal magnetism. So that's very super generous of him. And then Jerry tells Ann that she was always so thoughtful and such a delight to have around. And I'm sure you're going to be an incredible mother. And then Ann says, thanks, Larry. That's nice. And Ron then says, goodbye, Ann. I have enjoyed parts of our time together. And then cut to Ann, and she's weeping. Mm-hmm. And she's like, that was really something. That was so nice. And Jerry's crying, and it's a whole thing because Ron is just a bunch of emotions right now.
Yeah, he's just emoting.
Cool it, man. You shook a man's hands twice. Come on. Making people cry, saying you appreciate them. What's wrong with you, Ron? Enjoying a party? God.
He was full of ham and turkey,
Yeah. So the tryptophan is tripping him up.
It happens.
Yeah. So Ben is like, we got to do something for Chris. And Andy says, I got him this City of Pawnee mug and this cool jacket. And Jerry's like, that is Chris's jacket. He's like, cool. Then we know he likes it. And then Ben has some old receipts from lunches they had together. And Ron has a note card that says Ron. This is my contribution. It says Ron. And Chris comes over and Andy throws everything in a bag. He's like, hey, we got you some cool gifts. And Chris opens it up and he's like, oh, some assorted items and some pieces of paper.
Boom. Nailed it.
This is not solving Ben's angst here on giving a thoughtful gift to Chris. Anne is talking to Leslie and talking about how the whole party's just been so awesome. She saw Pilgrim line dancing with a box of candles. But she doesn't understand why Leslie feels so sad. And Leslie tells her about the surprise groundbreaking party and can't do it because Harold is such a jerk face. So they fence the whole thing. It can't go. And Anne's like, first of all, don't apologize. And second of all, screw Harold. If I've learned anything from you, it's that we don't take no for an answer. Anything is possible if we work hard enough. And so, so Leslie's like super stoked. Anne's on board. April is there too. And so, all right, everybody, hands in. 1, 2, 3. And they all say different things. Leslie says, groundbreaking. Anne says, let's go. And April says, dark forces arise. And I was like, I guess I didn't plan what we're all going to say. That's my bad. And so they take off. They go to Harold's house and they just bust on in unannounced. And Harold is not happy. He's playing cards with his friends. And he's like, well, you put a fence. Leslie's like, you put a fence around the Sullivan Street lot. And he's like, yeah, you snuck around behind my back. I told you I don't like it. And so I'm not going to help you. And it's like, look, you have a great opportunity. We just think of us as your two genies who can give you anything you want, nothing gross. And Harold, all he wants is super fizzy fruity pop, which sounds awful. But Sweetums used to stock their office as a promotion, and then Catherine Pinewood took it away. And so Harold's like, if you can get that back, I'll give you a key. And so Leslie's like, all right, let's do this. And so this is where it becomes even more like, let's visit all the people of Pawnee. Mm-hmm. It's like a clip show without being a clip show. So this is where I kind of started getting annoyed because I don't like Catherine Pinewood. I'm fine if she's never in the show again.
Let the scavenger hunt commence.
Yeah, so they go looking for folks. So Leslie knows that Catherine hates her. But Anne's like, look, you're lucky you're with the person who loves you the most. And so they go on their adventure. Chris is then still at the party. He's talking to Donna, talking about how remarkable she is. And Donna says, I just want you to know that I always thought you were hot. And Chris responds with, I know. And then talks to April. And it's like, April says, yeah, you saw a lot of potential in me. I'm like a daughter to you. It was the treat to watch me blossom, blah, blah, blah. And Chris says, that's really close. And also, I'm proud of you. So they go in for a hug. And then Chris is like, Donna, are you grabbing my butt? Donna's like, can you blame me? No. Which is assault, man.
That is harassment.
It is. It's harassment with emphasis on the harass.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they get to talk to Catherine Pinewood, and she's like, no, I can't help you. I don't have time for disgraced former politicians and unmarried pregos.
Wow.
And they're like, wow, you're great. And so they are like, look, there's got to be something we can do. We really need the key so we need to get these sodas. And Catherine's like, I don't know why I should do you favors. If you're still a city council, maybe. But you were recalled. And so she's just making Leslie mad. And Anne is like, no, we're going to do this. And so Catherine is like, we need a celebrity spokesman to endorse our new sports drink. And so if you can make that happen, maybe we'll give you what you want. So who do they want? Cut to Pistol Pete. And he's like, they already tried to get me to endorse the sports drink. I said no. They want me to dunk on the label. When are they going to know that I'm more than a high school basketball star? And Leslie's like, I'm sure it's not about the basketball. And Pete says, is called Sweetums Dunktastic 3-point B-ball blast. The slogan is, it's all about basketball.
What do you think that tastes like? What flavor would you go with?
Interesting question. If it's Sweetums, the name Dunktastic 3-point basketball blast, I would imagine that it somehow tastes like strawberry milk after dipping Oreos in it.
Oh, what? Because of the dunk?
Yeah, you got to dunk something in it.
Oh,
I wouldn't be surprised if it was just strawberry milk as an energy drink.
That's a new sports drink. It's just straight up strawberry milk.
You drink it on the sidelines.
Oh, milk was a terrible idea.
Just start throwing up. Yeah, I don't know. What would you say?
I'm lactose intolerant. I have no clue. I just see I see blue. I don't know what flavor it would be.
The flavor blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just so you know, there is no actual like natural ingredients in this at all. So even if you're lactose intolerant, there's no lactose to worry about.
Okay.
It just really tastes like milk. It's got like that consistency.
It's a non-dairy. It's non-dairy strawberry milk.
It's non-identifiable. It's like you don't know what's in it.
It's
but Sweetums brought it.
It's McDonald's ice cream slurry.
Oh my gosh, I love McDonald's ice cream.
Yeah, when the machine's working.
You know, I think people are just going to bad McDonald's. I've only had one time where the machine wasn't working in my life.
Summertime in Seattle gets a little rough, I feel, and they have a tendency to shut down.
Do you know what the deal is with the ice cream machines at McDonald's?
Like why they suck?
Yeah, why they can't just fix them?
Well, yeah, it's because it's a proprietary system that they have to buy, and they don't have the code, and they have to actually get the consultant to come out, and it's a whole deal.
It's a whole deal.
And then somebody came up with a device that could actually reset it for them, but then McDonald's was suing them, and And here's the deal: it's like we just want ice cream, man. I just want a McFlurry. Make it happen.
Yeah, whose ice cream machines never fail?
I want a hollow spoon. Dairy Queen.
Yep, and.
I don't know who else has ice cream machines.
Jack in the Box.
That's what I was going to say. Burger
Chick-fil-A.
King and Chick-fil-A.
I've never had a Burger King milkshake. Do they do milkshakes?
I think they do.
Oh man, because you so many ideas today.
Can have it your way.
That's right. Those jingles. How do you feel about them? The new Burger King jingles.
It's the hotness at all the schools because I have an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old, and my 11-year-old says, like, not a day goes by that there isn't a group of kids singing that jingle, the BK Have It Your Way jingle. Just day and night. They just go around singing it. Although she also says that some of the boys, because it snowed here recently, and she says, "Do you know what the boys said, Dad?" I was like, "About this now?" I said, "No, what?" They were walking around there. They're holding their hands open with snow, and they said, "Hey, you want some of this snow cane?" So
did they snort it?
I don't know. I didn't want to give her any ideas or let her know how that worked. So I just laughed and said, "Boys is dumb."
If I was able to be there, I would just be like, how do I know it's the good stuff?
Do you know the value of this mountain?
Snow cane. Wow.
Snow cane.
What school is this?
Oh, I think they're just getting ready for Cocaine Bear, the movie.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Oh, my word. Yes, it's going to be great. So anyway, Pete is out. And so they're like, well, maybe there's another one that we can look for. And so cut to them talking to Perd Hapley as he says no. He doesn't just say no. He says there is such a thing as journalistic integrity, and it's something that I have as a journalist with integrity. And Anne says, it's really important, Perd, please, for old time's sake. And then Perd's like, well, the story of that heart appeal is it was heartfelt. In response to that appeal, I respond, okay. And we find out that Anne went on a date with Perd when she was single, trying to figure out her life. And and the date ended with him saying, I'm going to kiss you now by putting my mouth on your mouth. And Anne ran away. So
I feel like Perd would have been like a point guard. probably a guard. And I just think it would be hilarious if he's coming up the court and just, to get the play going. And he's like, the name of this play is 5 out. To everybody.
I don't know what that means, but
well, you can name it anything. The name of this play is Omaha.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he would tell everybody the plays, is what you're saying.
Right.
He would communicate exactly what's going to happen. It's like the strategy of this play is the center is going to hold up at the top of the key, and you would just do the whole thing, and then the shot clock would expire.
This pass is going to the post.
The other day, I was driving with my daughter. I'm just driving around. We spent a lot of time in the car together. Mm-hmm. And
listen to the Wallflowers.
Yeah, well, my daughter. Mm-hmm. She does not want to listen to the Wallflowers. She doesn't really want to listen to anything other than Wallows. Anyway, we're driving around, and she just stops all of a sudden and goes, March Madness is almost here.
Yes.
I was like, I love you so much. It's the only basketball that I actually have time to watch, and it's all condensed into just a couple of weeks, and I love it. But yeah, anyway, it's going to be exciting. March Madness. So cut back to the party, and Jerry is saying we all feel bad, but we should just tell Chris the truth that we feel bad. We didn't get him anything. And Tom's like, the truth? That's hilarious. We'll tell him we had the perfect gift, but we were robbed at gunpoint. Now Chris feels bad, and he's buying us gifts. And again, Ron says, I don't know what the problem is. I shook the man's hand twice. Chris comes over, and he's got a Kennedy mask from the President's Day booth, and he does his Kennedy impersonation, and Andy's laughing. He's like, oh, that's from the Family Guy, right? And so Ben's like, look, we have to tell you something. We feel bad. You got us such thoughtful gifts, and we got you 3 pans and a bag of nothing. And Chris is like, I don't need anything. My buddy boxes were about the past, but let's focus on the future, because we're always going to be friends. And they do a cheer for the future, a toast, and then Ben looks at Ron. He's like, I've got an idea. And Ron does the thing with like his note, points at his nose, is like, yep, I'm on it. So then they Anne and Leslie run back to Harold's house, just walk inside, and they're like, do you guys ever knock? And like, no, but we got Pert happily to sign on with Sweetums, which means you get your sodas back, which means we got our key. Everything's in writing. Now call off your guards. And so Harold says, fine, and gives them a key. And so then they leave and go to the park. And Leslie's like, I'm going to call the official ceremonial ribbon cutting guy. And as she goes inside, and she starts going to scare off the raccoons, which I'm glad that was a bit that didn't just go away. That
sure.
There's still raccoons running amok in Pawnee. And Anne's like, that's one thing I'm not going to miss. And this is where Abel says, well, Michigan has wolverines. Maybe they'll eat your toes. And Anne's like, well, how long are you going to be in Pawnee? Are you going to stay here? And Abel's like, I like it here. And Andy promised that someday we'll move to Transylvania, but that probably won't happen until we're like 100. And then Anne says, I'm really happy that you guys are married. And April's like, why? It's because I love him. I love you. Why wouldn't I want you to be happy? And then April says really quietly, I love you too. And Anne's like, what's that? And so Anne says, for your gift, I'm not going to make you say that out loud. And then she says, thanks. They hug. And Leslie's like, oh, did I miss something, a nice moment? And Anne's like, yes, you did. Leslie's response is just, oh, good. So then they cut back to the guys, and they're going to Chris's house. He's like, hey, you guys caught me on my first run of the day. So it's like midnight, maybe. And he's like, I call it my beat the sun run. It's a race between me and the sun. And they give him a box that Ron fashioned. It's a quarter sawn zebra wood adjoined by floating tenons to the black walnut corner posts, finished with a wiping varnish. That's a secret Swanson family recipe, handmade at my wood shop. It's a great looking box, and it's empty. And Ben says, that's for all your new memories that you're going to make with your family.
Oh.
And then Andy says, or Twizzlers.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fun thing about a box. You can put anything in it. And
Anything you want to keep cold, Tommy.
Yeah. And so then they open it up and they've all burned their initials into it. And Chris is looking at it and then he says, who's GL or GJLGG? And that's Gary, Jerry, Larry, Gergich, Gengerch. I've heard all my names. I don't know what to do. And Chris is very appreciative. And then he's misting up and he takes his finger, wipes a tear and puts it in the box. And he's like, this is the first memory for my baby. And Ron says, salt water will warp the wood. So keep your tears in your eyes where they belong. So, yeah. And then, so Leslie and Anne are talking at the park and Leslie's like, can I still call when I have thoughts on Jennifer Aniston's future? And Anne's like, not if I call you first. And Leslie's committing to be on the phone for every State of the Union address, every Oscar red carpet coverage, every single viewing of Tootsie. And of course. Leslie's like, you changed me. You taught me how to balance life, how to be patient. And Anne's like, how to be more patient, how to throw bureaucratic caution to the wind when it came to Ben. And then most importantly, you taught me that I can't pull off a tulip skirt.
just not your shape.
So it turns out ceremonial ribbon cutting guy, he's not going to make it because it's the middle of the night. He either flaked or tripped and impaled himself on his own giant scissors. That's the only possibility, right?
Right.
And so they're like, we wait for no man, and they get some shovels and they break the ground for the groundbreaking. And then Anne says, all right, that got my park. That's all I wanted from you. Friendship over. I would have loved if it just went to credits right then. Season's over. Series over.
I'm for it.
Yeah. So,
and they were sitting on the park bench,
right? Which was in her office.
It was, but so, I mean, she's a planner. I'm sure she had it. Yeah, it makes sense.
I guess. So the next day, packing up everything, and Leslie says, "There's no one good enough for you, but you're pretty close to Chris." And she's like, "This is normal. This is no big deal." And drive safe. And Nan's like, "We will." And they're packed. They're crying. There's tears. And Leslie packed sandwiches and some caffeine-free iced tea because Anne is pregnant. And there's a CD, a mixed CD loaded with Sarah McLachlan. So it's good. Things are going to get emotional. And they drive off. Chris and Anne are gonzo. And Ron suggests breakfast. And Les is pretty sad. And Ron's response is, there has never been a sadness that can't be cured by breakfast food.
Put that on a t-shirt. Just print it up.
Think it is true. And so the remaining crew, the last of us, if you will, they come together for breakfast. And that's the episode. The last line of the episode is Ron saying, bacon and eggs, please, and thank you. Which is Ron's really the hero of this whole episode. Making the box and everything, shaking a man's hands twice. Come on.
Getting breakfast, the idea of breakfast rolling.
Yeah. He's keeping everybody moving forward.
And it ends on a crane shot as the car's pulling off, and you see the town in the distance. And I think I feel like there was only one other crane shot, and that was back during the fair when she did the Harvest Festival. Yeah, and right at the end, there's a big crane shot there too. So yeah, anyway, I don't know. That just stuck out to me because you don't see that a lot with these sitcoms.
Right. Well, it's filmed like a mockumentary.
Mm-hmm. True.
And so very rarely, if you're actually trying to document somebody's life, do you have a crane available?
Right.
Right.
Right. So that's probably why it felt a little jarring.
Well, yeah, but if you think about it, if there's a documentary crew here for these events, they would know these things are happening.
Right.
They would know when Chris and Ann are going to move. And so they do a good job, I think, of employing the crane shot because it is these are momentous things.
Right.
Like the Harvest Festival saved the parks department and like zoom out to see how big this is. How big is Leslie's ambition? And look what she can accomplish, right? And so, like, that's a great shot. And then this one is like zooming out to say, Leslie, the world is bigger than Pawnee. And that's going to be something that she's going to have to learn in the coming weeks and next season. So, yeah.
I agree. Yeah, that's all.
It's so good.
Well put.
Yeah. I studied some film. I had a student today that when I came into class, they always talk about weird stuff when I come into class. One time, that student said, it didn't matter that she was 13. It was okay then. Whoa. I was like, what is happening? She was talking about her like grandparents years and years and years ago, whatever. And then today, one of my students was like,
wait, as far as what?
Well, they were dating, and like her grandparents were dating when like grandma was 13 and grandpa was like 17 or something.
Whoa.
But it was a long time ago, is what the point was. People didn't have that big of a deal about it, I guess. I don't know. So today they asked me who my favorite villain is of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And Time is the greatest villain. No, the correct answer is Anton Chigurh.
He's fantastic.
He's so good.
Call it friendo.
Oh man, I love that movie. And so we started talking about that movie, and one of the students in this conversation was like, "I want to watch more better movies," and I'm like, "You should."
That should be the name of a podcast or website. Watch more better movies.
Jeremy, I think that's a fantastic idea. We should totally do that after we finish all of these.
All right.
Watch more better movies.
Yeah.
Oh man, I would love that. That'd be so much fun.
I'd listen to that. And in 8 years, when we finally finish all these shows,
as long as he doesn't keep making more.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Watch more better movies.
Watch more better movies. I'm for it. Let's do it.
But then it's only like just terrible movies. Stardust.
Oh, Troll 2. Who's in?
I would be on board. Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of this episode. It's over.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
see ya.
As we walk through it, I started to like it more, remembering things.
Mm-hmm.
But 8.8. There's so many episodes that should be way higher rating than this. Like, I don't think like some of the best episodes got like 7.2. Come on, guys.
Like Kaboom.
Incorrect.
Totally worth it. In the trivia section, so one of the things I was going to throw out was when she was talking about when Leslie was talking about the scrapbooks for Anne, and this is a little fun fact that she made 103 scrapbooks, and this is the 103rd episode in the series, depending upon how you're counting. But it was more that I didn't pause it, but the one that I noticed that I thought was hilarious was there's a scrapbook called Kelly Clarkson Concerts 1, 2, and 3. And so here's a couple of the other ones that that are on IMDb if you want to check them out. Thoughts on Sam Watterson was a scrapbook. Nurse Anne. Eat, read, eat, pray, love, talk. The mystery of...
Say that again?
It's eat, comma, read, eat, pray, love, and talk. So eat, read, talk. So it's like a low calzone zone. The mystery of the woman we saw in Food and Stuff who looked like Isla Fisher. First text message. So that's probably a very small... scrapbook. Road trips. Huge. Road trips 100 miles or more. The Breakfast Album. Halloween. The Kelly Clarkson. Valentine's Day. And pregnant! !
That's a lot of scrapbooks.
Yeah.
How many scrapbooks would you say you've made
in my life?
Yeah.
Counting family ones.
Yeah, you. How many have you made?
0.
Okay. Yeah.
0 scrapbooks.
I have the same number. So it's probably just that Leslie's making up for all the ones that we're not making.
Probably. Yeah. I know what gift card I'm getting you now when you move.
As a gift card to Scrapbooks.
Yeah.
Plus.
Yeah.
Please don't. Pass.
That's it. I mean, that's all. I mean, as far as trivia and stuff goes,
right.
Except for Rashida Jones. I did not know this. She left the show to begin her work on writing Toy Story 4.
She wrote Toy Story 4?
Well, and then I looked up like the writing credits for Toy Story 4, and it was John Lasseter because he owns Pixar or does everything. Andrew Stanton, Josh Cooley, Valerie Lapointe, Rashida Jones, Will McCormick, Martin Hines, Stephanie Folsom, Andrew Stanton. And it's like, how many people wrote that movie? Well, that many, I guess, but that's a lot. It seems like too many.
It seems like too many for a movie that was probably not necessary.
That's 8 people, and then there are a couple screenplay buys. So, was she even a voice in that?
I don't know.
There's no way to know. Anyway,
No.
Well, cool, man. Well, what do we got? What do we got next week?
Next week is anniversaries.
Anniversaries,
and so Ben makes a dangerous confession.
Ooh, I feel like that's a name of an 80s movie, like a drama.
Oh, it probably is.
Dangerous Confessions.
Starring Sandra Bernhard.
I can see the poster. Like, I know it's not real,
but it's like a blue cover.
I can totally
and she's
see.
Like
yes,
staring to the left.
Yes,
and maybe holding a gun.
And there's like a shadow. There's like a shadow of a shadowy figure behind her. Like,
yes,
like because
yeah,
oh,
and an envelope that says confessions.
And it turns out it's Ray Liotta. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is Ray Liotta.
It's
How'd you know?
It is. Well, yeah, because it's Confessions of a Dangerous Confessions.
It's Ray Liotta, and you think, is he the villain? No, it's Dom DeLuise.
Silence of the Hams.
Yeah, I mean, major twist. Major twist.
That's the confession.
Yeah,
the confession is the writers didn't know what they were doing because they were on as much coke as the Cocaine Bear, starring Ray Liotta. Boom, full circle.
Wow. I when I saw him in that trailer, I was like, oh, Ray Liotta's in this. How long ago did they start making this movie? Because he's been dead for some time.
He passed away. Yeah.
And so I was like, have they just been sitting on this, waiting for like the COVID like theater fear to die down, so that people are like, no, you got to see this in IMAX. You got to see this thing huge.
They're waiting for that perfect moment when there's nothing else better to watch.
Oh, when would that be?
I don't know.
With this movie on the docket, that could be never. So, all right. Well, I do have to go because I have tickets to Cocaine Bear, so I got to get moving.
All right. Well, bye.
I don't. See ya.
See ya.